This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello. This is Fake the Nation, where we talk about news, we talk about culture, and where we celebrate Thanksgiving. Folks, this is our week off, but worry not. We have banked a couple of wonderful conversations for you to ring in the holiday, the turkey, the stuffing, all of it. First up, Michael Ian Black and John Fugelsang joined to discuss a grandma who left a will that was not to everyone's liking. So check out that conversation.
And next topic, we have an interesting will and bequeathment situation. And to talk about it, I'm joined by the wonderful comedian who has a show on Sirius XM called Tell Me Everything. He has a book coming out called Separation Between Church and Hate. He is the wonderful John Fugelsang. Hey, John. Oh my God, you're muted. You're muted.
So sorry. Happy Thanksgiving. Wait, you want to do that again? I apologize.
No, that's great.
My Ozempic is making me slip. I'm sorry.
We are also joined by legendary comedian, and you can see him on the CNN show Have I Got News for You? It is the incredible Michael Ian Black. Hey, Michael.
Hi, Negin. Hi, John.
Okay, so here's the story. There's this grandmother. She dies, and she leaves in her will a little something to all of the grandchildren, except for one of the grandchildren gets an extra $13,000 for IVF, and her sister thinks that that's unfair and that she's being ripped off. So, my question to both of you is that unfair?
No.
Okay.
No. Is that the correct answer? The correct answer is no.
It's outrageous. I think it's completely outrageous. I mean, yeah, she got free money, but she didn't get as much free money as she believes she's entitled to. And she's an American. So listen, it's not up for your grandmother to decide who she wills her money to. That's rubbish. Come on now. Get in there and fight. Didn't Roy Cohn teach you people anything? Get in there and fight. Never admit you're wrong. This woman wants a book about chutzpah, and she wants you to buy it for her. I mean, I support this all the way. I watch Jeopardy, and I get answers right, and I feel that prize money is rightfully mine. So as an American who's also petulant, I'm a Scotch petulant mix, I endorse this woman's greed all the way.
Well, it's just, it's so weird that I guess my larger question here is our relationship with wills and stuff like that. When that I would never assume that I would ever get anything from anybody. And so even my own parent, I'm not thinking about that. I don't think about that. When things happen, I'm sure there's a little pain. I don't know. I feel like IVF feels like such a worthy use. By the way, nobody wants to sink $13,000 into IVF. They end up having to. You know what I mean? It's like the least fun way to spend money. I
bought it for myself as a little birthday present last year, and honestly, one of the worst decisions I've ever made. Just a terrible decision.
Wait till her sister has the baby and they have birthday parties for the child, and this woman comes over and wants to know where her present is. I mean, that's what this is.
Or it may be that she demands the child slowly pays her back the $13,000 over the course of the child's life. They could just get on a payment plan with this child.
Oh yeah, start the kid out on some child labor. And then really putting in, yeah.
I feel like you're mocking the concept of reparations. This woman has been wrong.
Well, have you ever, like I said, I haven't been in a will situation before, really.
Lucky you.
Well, lucky me that all of my relatives have died in Iran and they are poor. So I guess that's just really lucky. But it's interesting. This is also an interesting thing. I wonder, being the child of an immigrant, being first generation, this entire thing feels oddly hilarious to me because I'm you have some sort of passed down wealth, that's so lucky, you know what I mean? And that your sister can maybe have a child, that feels so lucky. But I can imagine that some people are sort of building their future, and I wonder anecdotally if you know about people who are sort of waiting for something like that to kind of be able to build their future. Donald Trump was one of them.
If you keep talking about intergenerational wealth, people are going to suspect that the economy is rigged, Negin. Please, just be careful.
I mean, I had a friend who she had a trust, and the trust was that she would get food and lodging paid for, and a particular school paid for if she was always in school. So when I met her, she was like 28 or 30 years old, and she was always in some kind of school, because if she wasn't, she wouldn't get money from the trust. And then she lived like this for very many years and got tired of living like that, and then ultimately ended up, now she's actually done quite well for herself.
All that schooling paid off.
All that schooling
I was
paid
going
off.
to say, all that trust dependency really takes away the joy of being a wage slave. I got to say, she was missing a lot.
Well, and I think the thing that she got to, I think the thing she got to do, right, is just like to learn so much, to be so unassailably an expert in her field, that then when she was able to like stand on her own 2 feet, she walked into work that paid very, very well.
So she owes her niece, is what you're saying. She owes her niece.
But I always thought, like, I wondered when I met her, how long is this gonna last? Like, how many fucking classes is this woman gonna take? So, and I mean, she probably did classes and stuff like that until she was like 35. She did it for like 15 years after college, of just like classes, just to keep this trust fund going.
I would do the same thing, wouldn't you?
I don't know. It sounds, I mean, I would probably find a loophole where I could like just do some online course at night or something, but then like live a real life. Like be an adult. She did feel like there was arrested development there. You know what I mean? Like she never really like, and she took off quite late, much later than the rest of our friends.
All I'm hearing is another reason to pour all your money into crypto. That's all I'm hearing.
Okay. And have you seen families torn apart by will stuff? Like, this seems so silly to me because it's such a,
Yes.
but you've seen it happen?
Yes, I have.
Have they mended fences? Has that worked out?
I mean, some do, some don't. It's happened in my family in a couple different ways, and there are some people who have been able to patch it through and move on, and there's other people who are very bitter over things, and it's different in every scenario. And
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I come from nothing like you.
Yeah. Some people are very right. Some people rightfully are angry that they didn't get what they feel that what they were entitled to. But being mad
are some of those people named John Fugelsang by any chance?
All the time. I mean, my God, my parents took vows of poverty when they entered the clergy. My dad was a Franciscan.
Horrible.
My mother was a nun, and I will never forgive them for the lack of generational wealth, because they changed their mind and broke the promise to God halfway through, and left me nothing. But again, this is a woman who's angry that her sister is being given $13 grand more in a will than she's being given, so her sister can have a child. It's
great. Yeah, this woman sucks. For the record, for New York Times readers who read this, letter to the editor. Also, I want to say IVF does not cost $13,000. I mean, I don't know where. Like, that's like some at a discount. I don't know. Like, that's not how much I paid for IVF. It was a little bit more than that. So she's still paying fucking through the nose to make up the difference. All right, folks, that is the end of the show. Oh my God, what a fun time I had talking with you guys. And I want for the people of Fake the Nation to be able to follow you and all the wonderful things that you do. John Fugelsang, where do they do that?
I'm on SiriusXM every night, and you can hear the podcast every morning, and on tour with the Sexy Liberal Show, and just at John Fugelsang, but you have to be able to spell that word. Thank you so much.
Michael Ian Black, where do they find you?
I'm also at John Fugelsang, which is weird.
Yeah,
it's very confusing for people. But if you want to support me in any way, shape, or form, at Michael Ian Black on Twitter mostly is where I'm at, and then you can watch Have I Got News for You on CNN on Saturday nights. And Negin was just on; she was terrific. John, I assume you'll be on at some point. You'll be terrific, and
guys. Michael is so good on this show. He's so gosh darn fun on this show. So please tune in and then follow him on Twitter. It's a joy to see his hilarity in all forms.
And for our final conversation, Margaret Cho and Christina Greer join to discuss Thanksgiving. And next topic, Thanksgiving is upon us, and with it all the hiccups of family togetherness. So to talk about those hiccups and turkey burps, I am joined by a professor of political science at Fordham. She also has a book out called How to Build a Democracy, from Fannie Lou Hamer and Barbara Jordan to Stacey Abrams. It is the wonderful Christina Greer. Hey, Christina.
Hello there.
I am also joined by incredible comedian who I have loved for many years. She has a tour out now, or she's on tour right now. It's called the Live and Livid Tour, and as she put it, there's still a lot of things to be livid about. So please go see her live. It is the wonderful, wonderful Margaret Cho. Hey, Margaret.
Hi, thank you.
So, the holidays are wrought for some people. Where are you guys on the scale, like either Christmas or Thanksgiving? Where are you on the scale of like pleasant to unpleasant when it comes to doing family holidays?
It's really pleasant for me because I don't really look to celebrate those holidays. I just look at that as time off. And I'm there and I'm just spending time with people I love. And it to me, all of the sort of traditions, like the food, I don't fuck with the food. I don't fuck with the traditions of it. I don't fuck with the presents or whatever.
So you're like, you don't do turkey. You're like not a turkey person. Okay.
No, but I just love to see my friends, see my family, and everybody in my life is great. So that's what I.
So you don't. So there was no like political difference in your family.
Absolutely not. Not at all. Which I'm so grateful for, and I'm so I realize that it's rare. So, but I've just made my life that way. And so I'm really lucky.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, that is. So you don't have that either.
No, I mean, my parents, like, my dad integrated schools. My mom went to segregated schools. Like, they're sad and angry that the world that they fought for is like regressing back to the world that they were in when they were kids. But like, I'm probably the most, I'm like the Fidel Castro of the family, as they joke. But like, everybody else is on board. And I'm like the pocket political scientist for all of my friends. So, people can come to me and sort of like dump like their anxieties and like fears of the world. And I'm like a pragmatic optimist. I mean, I teach students for a living. Like, I have to be optimistic. Like, they're so interesting. And like, they are the people. I always explain to them, like, you are my future senators and governors. Like, you will be taking care of me. My retirement plan is to kick it in the governor's mansions across the country, like whatever your political stripe. So like, I'm just trying to pour into them to be interested in American democracy because they are the democracy. So like, I have lots of friends who are exhausted, but at the same time, it's like, we live in a world of abundance. Like, let's all keep it in perspective. Like, we have limited time here. All is in divine order. I'm not trying to just like belittle the fact that of the hellstorm that a lot of communities are going to face, but like, also I can't be like preemptively anxious. Like, it's not here yet. So I will rest because that's real. And I will prepare and I will build coalitions when necessary. But like, I also can't live in a perpetual state of fear. And so I think I get that from my parents. We have a lot of fun. We play a lot of games and card games and
so you don't have like you don't have like the odd like cousin Jimmy who's like an anti-vaxxer or whatever.
I'm sure we do, and like every now and again something like creeps in on like the family group chat. But like, I don't spend holidays with those folks. I see them once in a blue moon for something random. Yeah. So like, no, they're not. I would say
I have a couple of those people in my family, and the thing is there was a couple of times early, like in the first Trump administration, where like just my natural instinct was to be like, no, but that doesn't make sense, and like I would kind of like engage in the argument, and that I realized was like the bad, was not the way about it. I think the way about it is just generally trying to avoid those topics. And then to also, because the alternative is not to see those people because they have beliefs that are different than mine. And that doesn't seem right because there's like 5 Iranians in America and they're my, like I need to be able to see my family. And if 2 of them are now like anti-vaxxers, like I still love them, you know what I mean? And so now the thing is just sort of like, I actually find it, what I love about it is like it's sort of like Margaret, maybe you experience this when you tour in like red states or swing states, where you kind of like meet people of all stripes and you're like, oh, I'm like hanging out with Trump voters and they're like delightful, and and so you're kind of like reckoning with the thing that the bubble that you're in, and the bubble that I'm in is I just don't have I don't have any Trump voters in my bubble,
I do it like in that I'm in a number of recovery sort of societal groups, and so any sort of like 12-step group, you're going to have people, and then we have like really, it's very rigid in 12 steps that we have no opinion on outside issues. So we have to let all politics aside whenever we come together. And that's a really important thing, because if we didn't have that, we would be fighting. I mean, we're already prone to argue anyway in these communities. So the luxury of having no opinion on these outside issues has really like allowed me to have compassion, I think, for people that are not like me in that way. So it's interesting though, when people just want the best for themselves, but the problem is that looks different for everyone. They want the best for themselves and the people they love, but that the definition of that is the only thing that separates us. So it's to kind of come across that divide it's hard, but I think it has to happen sometimes.
Well, it's interesting because I read a piece that talked about like what to do. I think it was in Time magazine, what to do during the holidays. And some people's instinct is to stop going, right? Because they just don't want to deal with people that have different opinions. And actually, experts advise that you actually should lean into joining with family during discordant times, because the proximity is going to help simmer down the tension you might feel more geopolitically. And that's actually, that'll be a net benefit for all of us. If everyone can simmer down, if everyone can like see their cousin Jimmy for like the fun that he is, but then also be like, all right, he's been voted for Trump, but also he's so great. Like, you know what I mean? He bought my daughter the greatest unicorn backpack, whatever it is that kind of like helps you see them as three-dimensional people, the experts think is actually like a good way. So if you are on the
I feel like that depends.
I know, really. For this,
I'm like, if you can't see my humanity, it's like I'm not asking a trans person or a gay person or a black person or an immigrant to like sit across from a relative who's like, you shouldn't be here. Like, no,
it depends. It depends.
It depends.
But the funny thing is, I think we also sometimes, because I'm talking about Iranians here, you know what I mean? Like this is Iranian on Iranian, and like where it's like, but I am asking myself to be with these people who are, who are just like not on the same page. They're not on the same page. Okay. Well, do you have any final Thanksgiving closing remarks? Holiday remarks.
Thankful abundance. I'm shackled to the stove this year. I'm making oxtails and sweet potato pies. That's my job.
That's great.
That's my job.
That sounds more interesting than turkey. I gotta be honest.
I'm gonna go to the Wynn Buffet in Las Vegas. So no cooking for me.
Nice.
That sounds very that sounds like not at all a Thanksgiving I've ever had.
I'm excited.
That's exciting. All right, folks, that's the end of the show. I want to thank the both of you for being on the show. What a wonderful conversation. I would love for the people of Faith Nation to be able to find you and all the wonderful things that you do. Christina, where do they do that?
Instagram. I left that other site and I made my login before I understood how social media worked. So it's dr_CM Greer.
Follow her. She's so smart. If you couldn't tell from this podcast, and she will help you through these troubled times. Margaret Cho, where do they find you?
Instagram, Margaret_Cho, and I'm on tour, so come see me. MargaretCho.com is where you get tickets.
Guys, like I said, do yourself a favor and get those tickets. And that's the end of the show. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful holiday. I hope you're stuffing yourselves. I hope you're relaxing. I hope you're watching TV and kicking up your feet. I want to thank everyone who makes the show a possibility. That's our wonderful producer, Andrew McGuire. Thanks to everyone at HeadGum. Thanks to Gaby Alter for our theme music. If you have any ideas, you can reach us at fakethenationpodcast@gmail.com. You can also support the show at patreon.com/Negin Farsad. And otherwise, we'll be back in your earballs next week.
That was a HeadGum podcast.